Hello and welcome to Bob's Reviews here in Manila, Philippines. I want to say hello to everyone. Everything in this review was bought by me for doing the said review. And today we're going to do a kind of like a part 2 to the making speaker cable with Canare wire. Here I have the piece of Canare wire left over from the 4 meters that I had bought, and I planned on using this for this project. I picked up some more. That's what took me so much time between last Sunday's video, or 2 Sundays ago, and this video, this Sunday. I had to wait for this to be delivered from Lazada. This is another PET expandable cable sleeve. This is the 2mm size. It's very small, just enough to go through each one of the strands of here. Then I picked up a pair of, excuse me, 8 Y spades connectors. And these are nice. These are Nakamichi One brand. I'm sure they're not genuine. I did test them with the magnet. I did contact the seller before purchasing, and I had my Chinese friend make a message for me in Chinese, and I sent to him asking if they were real copper. He confirmed that they were copper, so he said. When I received them, I checked them with a magnet. They are heavy. There is some weight here, and it feels just like it would if they were real copper. Super thick connections. Very good. Now, what are jump cables or jump wires? This is a cable, so we're going to call this jump cables. On the back of some of your speakers, like these Mission 780s, by the way, beautiful wood. Look at that. Real wood cabinet. I put the covers on because I move them off my stands. Whenever I move my speakers, I put the covers on immediately before moving. And make sure your power is off before disconnecting or reconnecting your speakers. Please, always power your stuff off. I even went as far as turning off the outlet. So, jump wires, what they do here is they have 2 sets of binding posts here. Okay, this is for your highs, your tweeter, and this is for your lows, your mid bass. What they do here is they have a copper plate here. And my B&W had these, my Wharfendale Diamonds had these. Many speakers come like this. I'm not really a big person about buy amp or buy wire, especially buy wire. Buy wire to me is not, it is vaporware. Buy amp is a totally different situation. By amp, you're using 2 separate amps for the signal. So 1 amp would feed this lower one, and 1 amp would feed this top one. Now that I can understand, and it does make a lot of sense to me. But by wire, coming from the same receiver, the same amp, and going into here, it doesn't pass the test with me. Okay, that's my opinion. Other people have different opinions, but these jumper plates, it has been scientifically proven that oxygen-free cables are better than this plate. Okay, can you hear a difference? That's debatable, but I like to replace them anyways. And since I have a spare piece of this 12 gauge wire, the Canare 2S11F 12 gauge, and I bought the spades. These spades costed me 420 peso, which is about under $10 for all 8. And covering here, the sleeve, that was this is the 2mm size. This was 27 peso per meter, and I bought 1 meter, of course. Okay, so 27 peso, you talk about 50 cents, a little over 50 cents for this, or under 50 cents. So basically we're going to be removing these 2 copper plates here. I have the binding posts tight, and it's awkward doing it this way because the speaker is in front of me. Okay, just loosen your terminals up like so. and you see the plates fall right out. And if you look at these plates, you see how thin they are. You see how really thin they are. They're easy to bend. Okay. And we're going to replace them with Canare wire. Now, I've tried a couple experiments here. So just to let you know, I go through all this to find out the best way. And this way I'm showing you now is what I believe better. I tried twisted wire, but then I couldn't find spade clips big enough for this diameter of wire. It was too much. So I made 4 of them. I couldn't find connectors for them. And I'm really not that happy with the way they look. Then I came up with this idea using these spade connectors. They're copper. They're okay. It came out okay, but it's not what I like. It doesn't pass the Bob test. I'm too anal about it, and there's too many things that I did wrong that I didn't like about these. So we're going to try this experiment. And I happen to have a pair of some spare 12 gauge wire from another Canare project that I did. And so what I'm going to do to measure the distance I want for my speaker wires, for my jump cables, I'm going to do a loop here. But I'm not going to make a 90-degree bend. You don't want to kink the wire, especially this 12 gauge. It's kind of hard to work with because it's so thick. So I'm going to just take the end, and I'm going to go right where this goes, and take the other end, and make a decent loop, but not one that's a crazy loop. That's how big. That's how big I want it. I'm going to take my black magic marker, and I'm going to mark that area right there, and that will be my template to cut these wires. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all this sleeve off. You want to take your time, okay? I got a pair of rounded tip scissors here, so just in case, because it's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to cut into the wire that you're trying to take out of the insulation. So be very careful doing that, cutting that wire out. I've got my soldering kit. And here's a good time to give a shout out to ACOUSTICS. They're the company that sold me the soldering, the silver solder. And that's ACOUSTICS. You can find them on Facebook. I'll leave a link in this video. This silver solder is made in the United States. It was 195 peso for 3 feet. 195 peso, $4, $5. This is premium. ACOUSTICS is a company that makes premium custom-made audio cables and accessories for the discerning Filipino audio head or expat. And make sure to check them out on Facebook. This is genuine wire. As you can see, very happy with this. I found them on Facebook. They had a store on Lazada and Shopee, but I could no longer find that store. So then I just did a Facebook search on them. And you really want to do your tinning of any audio components with silver solder to make sure that you have 100% pure conduct and pure connection between the two. So we're going to be doing some silver soldering each one of the wires. I'll show you that later on in the video, but let me get the wire cut out of this insulation and we'll go from there. And make sure you check out the guys, ACOUSTICS. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I cut the pieces into 4. How I did my measurements again was I installed the spades where I would like them, and then I took the piece of wire I had and I measured it out. So now basically I did this because I know the wire ends there and I want it to go there. Okay, so that's how I got the distance that I would like, and I didn't make it too tight because I don't want to kink the wire. So now we have these wires all measured exactly the same. I'm going to chop off a little bit of the end, of course, so I can insert them into the spade. But first I'm going to do is check the inside depth of this clip so I know how much to take off on the wire. And when I come back, I'll show you the trick that I used to do that. And I'll be right back. And I apologize for all the jump cuts. Okay, wires are stripped, as you can see. And in order to get the perfect distance or depth for the plugs. Let me look for the one that I had opened. Oh, here it is. As you can see, this is how I want it to fit. I want the insulation to go inside of the spade connector a little bit. Okay? So now how did I determine the depth to cut? I just used the Allen wrench for my vaping. I stuck it in here like so. And then I took a black magic marker, as you can see the marker mark right there. And that gave me the template for all my wire stripping. So I stripped it to correct depth, and when I insert it, a little bit of the insulation goes in the collar. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to silver tin the ends of these wires, and then I'm going to slide the sleeve on, and I'll try it out. We'll see how it works out, and I'll come back with the results and tell you what any tips that I have learned putting this on that wire, because I've seen a lot of feedback from people stating that they could not get this sleeve on the wire. It was impossible. They gave the seller a negative review, when all you need to do is just slow down, stop, and think. And I'll be right back. Okay, let's see here. I'm back. I'm done silver tinning the ends of the wires. It came out pretty good, a little sloppy. I'm gonna blame my iron on that. I have one of the Lazada 100 peso soldering irons, and it's not the best, but they came out okay. There's no problem. There's a speaker. Now these the Nakamichi spades Y connectors, they come apart right here. Hard to see. They are threaded right here. I don't like how they were acting. I don't like how they came apart. So I did a little dot of solder on each one. So I'm going to believe that these are copper, because I have been doing a lot of soldering in the 50 years I've been alive, and the solder went on here just like it would with copper. No problem. So now I don't have to worry about these coming apart. I am going to take a piece of heat shrink 10 millimeter and put it over the top and seal the screws that tighten the wire and where it comes apart, so it will be tight and I don't have to worry about it coming apart. So that's just a word of advice about these Nakamichi Y connectors. I highly suggest putting a dab of solder right there. That way they don't come apart. Remember, always clean your tips. Make sure that you use rosin. I wiped rosin around here. And also, when you're done, make sure you wipe off that rosin with alcohol. So I'm going to take a cotton ball right now after I put a pause on this video, and I will wipe all these down with alcohol. Other thing I want to mention is, earlier I said the 2 millimeter wire sleeve, and as you can see at the end here, it frays really easy. Come on, focus, focus, focus. It don't want to cooperate with me. So what I had to do, why there was a delay in making this video, I had to order 4 millimeter. Okay, so now I have the correct size. My micrometers battery was going down. When I checked the wire diameter before, it came up as 2.5 millimeters, which I thought was not correct, but I went with it anyways. So I ordered a 2 millimeter sleeve. The 2 millimeter sleeve, every time I tried to put it on, it would fray really bad, and I can't do that. So I ordered a 4 millimeter, and what I suggested on doing is, I'll come back. When I come back, I'll show you what I mean. Hold on, be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have 2 done. They came out pretty good. I wish I would have another size of heat shrink tubing, but I'm working with 10 millimeter and 6 millimeter shrink wrap tubing. When you're assembling these, make sure that you have your Y spades both facing the same direction when you mount them. Okay, you don't want one turn this way and one turn that way. You want them both to be uniform in row. When you're connecting to the speaker, it will make it easier on the wires so you don't put too much of a bend in the wire or go against the way the wire wants to lay. So I'm going to do the next two, and as part of a tip that I'm going to give you guys all is when before you put this sleeve on, put a piece of tape at the very tip here. Also, put a piece of tape on the end of the wire. Come on, focus. Put a piece of tape on the end of this wire so as you're putting it through, it doesn't snag on the sleeve. Okay? So, a piece of plastic tape here, not too tight. You want it to still be able to expand and take shape, but you don't want it to fray. It'll help reduce the fraying. Okay? This is the tip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a piece of tape on here and a piece of tape on here, and then I'm going to measure this out and install. And then I'll be done. When I'm done, I'll come back and I'll show you the finished product. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. Everything is done. I fully assembled them. They look really, really nice. I'm very impressed with this. I gave it enough room. Here's enough length. So if I do change speakers, I could reuse these jumper cables. And also it doesn't put any stress on the terminals. I'm going to plug my main speaker cables into the top, which of course is the highs. So I will be getting the highs directly powered by the amplifier. And then the jumper cables go down to the bass or the mids. The plates are gone. These cheap plates. Big thick wire now. Beautiful. You guys like this? I can make them a set for you, or you could make a set for yourself watching this. Contact me if you have any questions or any problems. The next video I'm going to be doing, let me zoom out. The next video I'm going to be doing is the power. We're going to do a power cable video. Okay, this is Royal Cord 12 gauge 3-wire, and we're going to use, hold on, let me grab this, let me push this out of the way, and I just got this in today. This is the cable sleeve, 14 millimeter. The cable is 14 millimeter, and then I have two of these. These are the plugs for the power cable. So I'm going with all red because red is power. So the cable, this end here goes into my SMSL A300. This end goes into my power strip filter. I will go into more into that in another video, but the next video is going to be making a power cable. So see you in the next vid. See you in the future. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you consider making yourself a pair of good jumper cables instead of using those jumper plates. It came out really nice. They look really good, nice and secured, and it went pretty well. It was a little hard doing the proper heat shrink. If I would have done it different, heat shrink comes in two different things, 2-to-1 or 4-to-1. 2-to-1 means if you buy 8 millimeter shrink wrap, it'll shrink down to 4 millimeter. If you buy 4-to-1, it'll go down from 8 millimeter to 2 millimeter. I wish I had the 4-to-1 blue, but I have no 4-to-1 blue. I'm going to order some, but at this time of making the video, I have none. So it would have made it look a little bit more professional, a little bit nicer using the 4-to-1 shrink wrap, because I could have used just one piece of shrink wrap. here instead of using 2 pieces. I'm using a 10 millimeter here, and I'm using 5 millimeter here. So if I have the 4:1, I could have done it perfectly with just 1 piece of heat shrink. But either way, it came out good. I appreciate you guys watching. Please stay tuned. Please like and subscribe. And salamat po. See you in the future. See ya.